Welcome to Suladan Plays War for the Overworld. So, well, originally there was more of a rant and a ramble and other things that were going to go here, but it took me a bit to get the game running, and, well, long story. Start at the beginning. First, last night's work ran way late, so I'm running on, about 3.5 hours less sleep than I really need. Then I had to get up and go back to work, and then I came home and I convinced myself that I should use some of the manic energy that had built up through all that and go ahead and record. I was originally going to record tomorrow, so it's not like it's a huge change of pace. Tomorrow being tomorrow from the point in which I am recording, not tomorrow from when you are seeing that, for I do not have time warping powers. Although one of my managers at work has been accused of having such. That was a whole other topic and not a tangent I'm going to get into right now. Instead, I have another tangent to get into. Firstly, there's a tangent behind this game. For those of you that are not familiar with it, Bullfrog Games was a gaming company in the late 90s, early 2000s, somewhere in that ballpark. Didn't do a lot of research for this rant. It's just going to be a ad-libbed rant. Not really a rant. I'm not upset. But anyway, I played another game on this channel a while back, Populous the Beginning. If you haven't seen it and are curious to do so, there's a playlist for it. It connects to this story somehow, but in ways that I can't yet point out without tangenting off even worse. Basically, they created a game, Populous the Beginning, which is technically Populous 3. It's the one Bullfrog was involved. Well, I don't know if Bullfrog was involved in the earlier ones or not. I don't know all the history there. I just know Bullfrog was involved in that one. They may have been involved in more. I do not know. But anyway, they made a unique game that combined the RTS genre, real-time strategy genre, with the God game genre. There are not a lot of God games around anymore. They keep being hit and miss, and there's some mechanical issues I have with them as a genre, but I think there are things that can be pulled and used in other genres. But anyway, basically, instead of being purely real-time strategy, your tribe, your little army, had the one hero unit known as the shaman that could cast all the spells, warp terrain, and do all the things using the mana gathered from their, tribe members. Point being, to me, it's one of my favorite games ever, and I really do think that there was a lot more to this, but I lost my train of thought. But short version, I think the combination of aspects of the real-time strategy genre and the God game genre creates something really unique and interesting. From Dust is considered the spiritual successor to Populous the Beginning, but it got rid of most of the real-time strategy elements and veered off back into the God game area, which to me is really hit and miss for reasons I will point out. My issue with the God game genre, and the only ones I have really played, are the black and white games. I've played Populous 2. I've not played Populous 1, but I've played the Populous before it wasn't, back when it was purely a God game. And Dungeon Keeper. Again, that topic will connect in a minute. But anyway, my main issue with the God game genre is generally you don't have control of your units. You can plant a little flag and say, hey people, congregate around here, or like in Populous 2 you could tell them to try to colonize or try to find stuff to attack. You had very limited control of your people, which leads to AI stupid. Again, these were older games, so the AI was a little worse too, but I like to be able to directly control and, real-time strategy and whatnot. Populous took the things I love from the God games, namely you can warp and actually change the terrain, which back in the 90s was a big thing. Not a lot of games allowed you to... Steam, don't pop up weird little minimized windows in the middle of my screen that I can't get rid of. Steam, stop being... Shoo. Self-client updater. That's why you were stealing bandwidth without asking me. Anyway, In the real-time strategy genre, I enjoy being able to control my units, you know, get them to do what I want them to do and not what they decide to do. For anybody that has played From Dust, you remember how often your little tribes people decide that it's a good idea to jump in a river of lava rather than, you know, go the safe path? Yeah, things like that happen. But the main reason for this tangent is after making Populous, or kind of in the same general area, the game Populous the Beginning actually has a button in it you can click to watch a teaser for Dungeon Keeper, which was also made by them. It had aspects that I liked, but Dungeon Keeper to me still fell into the category of a little too... You lacked certain controls I liked, namely which units you got was not under your direct control. The minions you got in your dungeon just kind of depended on the layout of your dungeon. Oh, you've got a lot of gold? You have a higher chance of luring a dragon. Oh, well, that's great. I wanted a game where random number generation played a big part in which units I get. The game also had some difficulty spike issues that were exacerbated as a result of that. And Dungeon Keeper 2 came out as well. I love both the games. I just noted that they did have some flaws. But the reason for this long tangent, which was more coherent in my head, but yay for that, is War for the Overworld is kind of a spiritual successor to Dungeon Keeper. It's not made by Bullfrog. Bullfrog went... Well, Bullfrog done croaked. We're just going to say it like that. They croaked many years ago. But there has still been a large fan base for the Populous game. Well, large. There's still been a surprising fan base for the Populous Beginning and for the Dungeon Keeper games. And eventually War for the Overworld came out. It was met with mixed reviews. It was, from what I've heard, kind of buggy. But they fixed it. This is actually the... I waited for a sale, so, you know, it took a while. They had fixed the bugs by the time I got there. Supposedly, the reviews, got a lot better. I haven't actually played it yet, aside from, you know, poking at some of the sound options and graphics options. But I have the War for the Overworld Underlord Edition, which contains the Crucible expansion, Heart of Gold, Map Editor, MyPad Dungeon, the Undergames, and the Underlord Edition. I don't remember what those things were. And apparently there's a... console edition of this game. So that's the most recent news for the start of this month. That, and they originally had a merchandise store which they're closing due to United Kingdom's exit from the European Union. Whatever. I'm not getting into weird. I'm not going to keep reading weird. But anyway, long story short, this game is the spiritual successor to the Dungeon Keeper franchise, which Populous Beginning was made by the same people. I don't know how to word that. You get the idea. I have high hopes for it. It does seem to have more of the control elements that I would like it to have. I know you can pick up and move your minions around, and there's some things you can summon, and I think you even get spells and stuff, so there's a little bit of Populous in there. I have seen, the trailer, and I watched the game dev do a stream for all of 5 minutes before my internet decided that streams were... Well, before my internet remembered that streams take too much bandwidth. And yes, I have a smoothie. When do I not have a smoothie? I like smoothies. What I call smoothies. Pureed things. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start the game. I think that sums up the ramble rant. That took almost 10 minutes. Yay, we're off to a glorious start. Also, yes, I have a Zenojava background on my middle monitor. I forget. War for the Overworld is a little weird. Yeah, it takes it a minute to do that. The image here is different every time you open the game. I'm guessing it's concept art. I don't know. I like it. It's neat. It would be neat if there were, well, I'm sure the wiki. If there was a wiki. Everything has a wiki. Not to be confused with a wiki, but we're not going there. But anyway, I'm sure there's somewhere that has compiled all the images if you want to poke at them. But in any case, come on, do the thing. It's really laggy when it starts.
Welcome back, Underlord.
That's the other thing I meant to mention. The voice actor for the mentor demon, or I don't remember what he was called. Big red guy, big red horns. Not that guy, different guy.
Are you sure you haven't been playing Populous?
Anyway, they got the same voice actor from the original Dungeon Keeper to voice the Dungeon Mentor in this game. He has an extremely iconic voice. It is slightly different than it was in Dungeon Keeper, and I have a theory on why that is. Well, two theories. One would be, it's been years, it's possible that his voice range has changed, or that he has refined his skill. But, you know, voice acting is an art, and he would be well within his rights to shift the voice slightly. Or two, it is possible that they changed the voice slightly so that any potential copyright things, I don't know whether, like, can they copyright your usage of a certain voice tone? They're like, I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. I'm just thrilled to have the same voice because, like, I loved that voice. We're going to click the single player button because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what any of these things are, but I'm going to go with campaign because that's generally where you want to start. There's a lot of buttons. I'm going to go with this, and I don't know what these little buttons do. Well, they're not buttons, apparently. We're going to go with War for the Underworld. Ooh.
Now go!
Welcome back, Underlord. I must say, I wasn't expecting you quite so soon. The transference may have left you feeling a bit foggy in the head. Focus now. I'll try to ease you back into it. Fortunately, this does seem to get easier each time. This is your home realm, the source of your power, and the anchor that binds you to reality. Many years ago, it was destroyed, and you were cast out into formless nothing. Fortunately, you've returned from your exile to once again challenge those who would stand between us and the mortal realm of Kairos. Your resurrection heralds the next phase of our assault upon its wretched empire, now led by the newly crowned Emperor Lucius. But he is least and final of our worries. It's his generals and the protection of their goddess Kira that will truly test our mettle. Ready yourself, Underlord. Let's begin our war for the Overworld.
I do apologize for the stuttering. I see a problem. I just can't fix it while there's a cutscene going. Okay. Firstly, it appears that OBS has switched back to software encoding, so I'm going to have to fix that real quick. One moment. Okay, there we go. That is much better. OBS had me panicked there for a second. When I went into the settings, the hardware encoder wasn't there, so I closed and reopened it, and it's magically there again. I don't know. The day OBS breaks my hardware encoding, I'm in trouble because I need that. I've mentioned it before, but basically it offsets. Software encoding uses a lot more processing. Hardware encoding lets the graphics card handle the brunt of some of the encoding, which makes the video and the video recording not take as much power, which is important for me if I want everything else to work. And I don't. How do I know it? Okay, so I can apparently access every level. This seems like a bad idea. 5, 9, 10. 4, 2. Whoa, 2, 4, 2. Orders 1. Reset campaign progress. Yes. Well, how do I know which one to... Mirrors around. Oh, okay. I click over here. Oberon's realm. Mildly annoys me that everything is clickable. You should kind of point me on which thing to poke. Also, I stand corrected. Based upon the trailer, his voice seemed a bit different, and at times it does, but there are times where I hear, like, exactly the old Dungeon Keeper voice, and I love it. But yeah, the intro cutscene was a little frame rate twitchy, as a result of the encoding quirk.
I've been looking for someone to spearhead my campaign. But before we get stuck in, let's refresh that old mind of yours.
Also, I am probably going to do 1 level per episode, assuming that time allows for it. That's just my current plan. It will adapt as need be. So, depending on how long the tutorial takes, that may be all we accomplish today. We'll see. I'm playing single player. Why do you care whether I give you access? You know what? No. I'm playing single. Anyway, today has been a day.
Welcome back, Underlord. It's been a long time since you were banished to the ether. You've returned as a husk of your former self. But I've taught far denser Underlords than you. Let's start with the basics. This is your dungeon core.
You interrupted your own narration to show me where a help button is. Oh, we're off to a wonderful start. Click it and click on the option, yes.
The tether that allows you to manifest your malignant will. If destroyed, your consciousness will once again be scattered to the void.
I'm going to make a minor aside there to say in the original Dungeon Keeper it was called a dungeon heart, and you can even see it doing a heart-like pulsing, but I'm sure the names of many things have been adjusted slightly for potential copyright. I don't know. Like, Bullfrog done croaked, so I don't know who has rights to what.
Your workers are an extension of your dark will. They have many jobs,
Hello, imps.
but their main
Stumpy. They have names. I'm sorry, I moused over and it says worker Stumpy.
This is in carving out the halls of your dungeon. Put them to work by clicking and dragging your cursor upon the flashing tiles to tag them for excavation. Your workers will now rush forth to dig out and claim the tagged area.
Imp numbers.
Once they have laid down the stones, marking the ground as your own, you will be able to build rooms upon the finished tiles. While your lackeys get to work, look to the east of your dungeon core.
Okay, one thing to point out, in the original Dungeon Keeper, when you reinforced walls, enemy imps couldn't dig through them, so you could, kind of barricade yourself off. I liked that, it was funny. But yes, and apparently every little imp has a name. I can pick him up. How do I drop him? Okay. Okay, yeah. Right-click slaps them. Slapping an imp makes them work faster. I remember some of these things from Dungeon Keeper, and I assume that the same rules apply. I'm also figuring out the controls. Middle click lets you do all the rotating things. Mouse wheel does what you would expect it to do. WASD, camera control. And then based on your angle, your field of view shifts quite a bit. So if you want straight up and down, there, you get a perfect rectangle, which my OCD is quite happy with. But I like being more at an angle because it makes the 3D look nicer. Left click, left click, 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 click. Go dig. Go dig. Do the dig.
This is a gateway. One of the many portals that you'll use to attract minions to your dungeon. Order your workers to dig a path to it now.
Are you dancing on the floor? Why are you dancing on my floor? Damned time. Now what are you doing? Is it leveling up? They have experience points. Why are you dancing? Minions! Minions, no! I know you're happy, but dancing at random. You know what? Now I'm tempted just to leave them there until. Whoa! Oh, you're fortifying the walls. Okay. I can accept that. You're at least making rational decisions. I didn't order you to do that, but sure. Also gold. Oh, I can move it around. I'll drop it on an M. No, I cannot. Okay, please stop.
Yes? A dungeon core.
I clicked gold, you goober.
Claimed tiles are part of your dungeon. So you can Earth can be mined by your work. Earth can be mined. Earth can
Okay, that's enough of that.
Claimed tiles are part
I'm trying to click the menu.
Worker is an extension of your unholy world.
Okay, you've already told me that.
Now that you have a gateway, minions can enter into your service. But first, you'll need to build the rooms necessary to entice them in. Start by building a barracks. This room will allow your minions to hone their combat skills without the risk of permanent death or disfigurement. Select it and build it by clicking and dragging your hand across the claimed tiles. Most rooms must be built at least 3 by 3 in order to function properly, though the lair and vault are effective at any size.
And if it's based off Dungeon Keeper rules, building
These
them...
underworld gateways connect your dungeon to the lower realms of the underworld, allowing minions to enter your domain. Additional gateways will increase the total number of minions your dungeon can support.
Dance, my minions. Did you say who said that? I don't know, they can hear me. Some rooms do benefit from being larger than 3 by 3, but please tell me that I can, like, choose what minions I get. Also, where's my gold? Okay, top. Okay, it's up there.
A gnarling has entered your dungeon. Attracted by the barracks, these green-skinned scrappers aren't quite right in the head, and they'll happily hack at your foes until someone is dead. Outside of combat, gnarlings will train themselves within your barracks. You can pick them up with a click if you find them slouching off.
Where'd he go?
And deposit them anywhere within your dungeon with a right click. For further entertainment, you can always put yourself directly into their head by casting possession upon them. A gnarling has entered your dungeon.
A lost soul has entered your dungeon. Oh, now it's wandered out again.
Increase combat effectiveness. Okay, 2 things I want to point out randomly. One, possession was a thing in the original 2, but it mostly just served for the comedic purpose of being able to, like, view the dungeon from first-person perspective. 2, I really hope the game lets me pick my units. I don't like the idea of them just kind of randomly showing up. Depends on how controllable it is. In the original Dungeon Keeper, it got to where it was really kind of annoying. Annoyingly difficult to control. Like if you want very specific strategic armies, when you would just get kind of random sources. I always ended up attracting giant flies, which are fine in of themselves, but when you need an army, you don't need giant flies. But yes, I will be possessing.
Possession will allow you to inhabit the mind of a minion, allowing you to see through their eyes, control their movement, and activate their abilities. You can increase the efficiency of props within your rooms by fortifying the walls closest to the props. Workers will fortify walls automatically when they've completed all their other tasks. Now that you have some minions, you will need to cater for their basic needs. First, build a lair so the pitiful little meat sacks can get some rest.
Okay. The, Gregory Narwhal.
Don't worry, Underlord.
Okay.
You'll soon get used to this. Now you can control your minions' movement with the W, A, S, and D keys, and change their unique quickbar abilities using the number keys. Left-click to use their current ability. Push the escape key to end possession.
What I was going to say is the mouse sensitivity is a bit too high. Why are you pointing up here? What is there something over here you want me to see? No? Then you've broken everything. Oh, you want me to build a napping place. Okay, okay. I get it, you're a tutorial. You're not gonna let me mess around. Rude. I'm reading some of these things, sorry. Build a lair, yada yada yada. Recall.
Stay still.
So I can't seem to get these things to do their thing. Oh, there we go. He just has to have a target. Okay, well that's neat. That was neat while it lasted. Moving on.
Well done.
Bed.
But see how your gold reserves have been depleted. Command your workers to mine some of the nearby gold by tagging the gleaming tiles. They collect and return gold to your dungeon coffers.
Yeah, they can't
allowing
reach it.
you to spend it on whatever your dark heart desires.
Saw what
Your
looked like
core
teleporting.
could store up to 16,000 gold pieces. But if that number sounds pitifully small, or if wealth inspires the evil in you, simply build a vault to store more.
Okay, so that's a compass, tells me which way my heart is. Spacebar seems to return to the barracks for some unknown reason. I thought I told y'all to dig, but sure, I mean... Okay, why do I keep seeing people teleporting?
Now that you've got a bit of coin in your pocket, you can build a slaughter pan. This room produces scores of micro
piglets.
A delicacy that will sustain the weak flesh of your minions by filling their bellies with succulent pig flesh.
I get to that. One of the idle comments that the Dungeon Keeper Dungeon Keeper would say is, "Micro piglets stalk your dungeon. Beware."
Micro piglets stalk your dungeon. Beware.
But there were no micro piglets in the game. That was just... He had a lot of random comments that he would say. Like, your dungeon floor is lumpy. Have your minions jump up and down.
Your dungeon floor is lumpy. Order your minions to jump up and down. Your dungeon is on an incline. Angry creatures cannot play marbles.
I guess he could be poking fun at the fact that the imps jump around to flatten the floor. But anyway... I'm gonna be very happy every time I find one of these little references to Dungeon Keeper.
Payday has come again.
Who now? What do you mean payday? They're minions! Last I checked, minions and employees are slightly different. Dig. I'm low on gold, by the way. I need y'all to kind of just do. What? Well, that's a noise I didn't need to hear. Will you people hush? Excuse me? Yeah, I know you're hungry. Endless supply of micro-piglets of bread. Beasts will happily eat straight from the slaughter pen, but your intelligent minions prefer meat to be cooked in the tavern first. High-level intelligent minions make it angry if they are forced to eat from the slaughter pen for extended periods of time.
An augur has died and left behind quite a harrowing browser history.
Who died? Okay. First things first, I'm gonna possess an imp real quick. Do you have a teleport ability I need to be aware of? Oh, you do. Dash, teleport. Oh, okay, well. Okay, one thing I'm going to do real quick. There was a sound option for minion voices. We're gonna drop them, say 70%, because round number. And make sure hitting the escape key saved that, because some games don't. Yep. Nope. Okay. Yeah. Some games you have to click the OK button, but yeah, I can't deal with the minions being loud in my ear all the time. Did one of you just snort? We don't have pigs yet. I know you're being grumpy about it. I'm just gonna go ahead and make it the full size. Micro piglet. Must possess it. I'm a micro piglet. Fear me.
Your dungeon has been breached. Cast rally upon these spectres, and your minions will immediately sally forth to wreak bloody havoc.
In Dungeon Keeper, you had a chicken coop, basically. I don't remember what it was called, but it had chickens. And yes, you could possess the chickens and run around the dungeon. I tried to attack a knight as a chicken once. It did not end well. Okay, who breached where now? You know what? Rally. Where's the rally button? Where's the invader? Did he die?
Well done. Now finish off the rest of these manifestations with a second rally flag.
Oh, there they are. Okay. Not the button I needed. Dominions are in combat. Yes, they are.
Your gnarlings made short work of those spectres, but see how they still circle the flag. You can dismiss rally flags by slapping them with a right click. This should allow your minions to return to their jobs and tend their needs in a timely fashion. You can cast recall upon a minion to immediately return them to your dungeon. Though if they are attacked as it channels, then the spell will fizzle into nothing.
See, the thing is, it's not an immediate recall if the spell has a charge time. Impenetrable rock. How dare you? I want to see what happens if I make the barracks bigger. Oh, I have to recall a minion, okay.
You're on a roll, Underlord. And I've been waiting far too long to begin my war for the Overworld.
You're at war.
Let us enter the realm of Kairos and continue your retraining against a more fitting enemy.
See, there we go. Oh, well, the level's just going to end without asking. This is going to be a fun game.
Well done, Underlord. I see it all coming back quite quickly. I expected nothing less, but there's much still to learn. Why don't we work in a bit of murder while we're at it? It's time for you to enter the realm of Kairos.
I like that each of the levels have these little achievements. This is interesting to me because it means it adds some more replayability to the levels. New aspects, units, and enemies. Yada yada yada. Rusty blades, collectors of shiny objects. But yeah. Let us hit continue. And see the game lag a little bit. I don't know what happens clicking there.
Welcome back, Underlord. You've been reborn from
narration.
the swirling mists of the ether.
Okay, that's just narration. And I believe each time you beat a level, it'll change the map, so it will get easier to tell where you're, like, what's going on. But like I said, gonna aim at like 1 level per episode. And now that we've got the rant ramble out of the way, and we've got the tutorial out of the way, things should get a little more interesting. I do worry about whether I'll be able to have greater control over which units spawn, but I'm gonna keep an open mind. Even if I don't have direct control, if the game allows me, through proper dungeon management, to have a decent enough level of control, I'm fine with it. It's mainly, well, Dungeon Keeper 2 had a harder time of it, but what happened mainly was it worked great in the earlier levels, but in the later levels where the battles became harder, and in many cases you were in open cave systems where you didn't really get to build enclosed rooms like you were used to, it got to where not having direct control over which minion you spawned felt like that was being more of a problem than actual difficulty, and it became frustrating there. But anyway, like I said, I'm going to keep an open mind. It may do awesomely. Loving the game thus far, and I'm going to go ahead and pause here, and we will continue our War for the Overworld next time.